You ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. Welcome back to Sincerely Be. I am your host, Blanca. And today we have a special guest with us, the one, the only, Mr. Spiffy Danny.
Throwback. One of the, 10 Instagrams accounts that I've had my whole life.
How long ago was that Instagram
That
account?
was way back in high school days, I would say. I've had my different eras. Spiffy Danny, Swell D.
What?
Now, yeah.
When was Soul D?
Back when I first started getting into the gym.
Oh, yeah.
And then now, Danny Life. But those were 3, and then I've had 5 different photography accounts and 1 gym account, but I deleted that already, so.
Oh my gosh.
I know.
Honestly, nothing can top off Spiffy Danny. That was my favorite era, to be honest.
That was an era for sure. Probably your favorite, but a lot of people had many thoughts of the way I dressed.
You know what? Danny has always been the type, though, that you did go through your weird eras but who hasn't dressed weird? We all go through the era where we have to dress awkward, and we go through that awkward stage in life. You went through it for sure.
It wasn't awkward. It wasn't awkward at all. I just knew how to pull it off. Other people just didn't know fashion back in the day.
They didn't understand the fashion life.
Especially with people that don't know if they would be able to pull it off. They're the ones that judge the most.
Damn, already calling out, Danny. We just started.
We got to get to the point.
Straight and forward. All right. Danny, I'm so excited to have you on. Thanks so much for being my second special guest on the pod.
It's an honor to be here.
Yay.
An honor and a privilege.
We also, just going to give a shout out to Miss Kate and Mr. Steele. They are in the room with us as well.
So if you guys hear a little coughing, a little boogery noise, that's my little boy just getting over sickness. But Mr. Steele.
He's out there yes, I'm here.
And Mama Kate.
And Mama Bear. All right, Danny. So, all right, let me ask you first. Do you actually listen to my pod?
Of course I listen to your podcast. I listen to yours. I listen to Taking Shots podcast. And I listen to Cafecito with Irali. So shout out to you guys.
Shout out, guys.
But yeah, I don't watch on YouTube. I listen through Spotify, which they all have. While I work, so it makes my day go by quicker.
Aww.
Yeah.
You're a true supporter for sure.
Thank you. You guys have supported me in my previous photography accounts, so definitely here to support.
Yeah, but you're back to doing that, right? You're back to doing photography, or not full time yet?
Not full time. It's more of a here and there. If I like a picture that I take, then I'll post it. Mm-hmm. But then, especially since started getting into golf, there's so many sceneries that I want to take my camera and go take pictures. Yeah. But at the moment, all the golf courses are dead, so it's not something happening right now. And then I do have some trips coming up in the summer, so I'll be taking some pictures over there, but nothing yet.
Yeah.
And it's more of a something that I just want to take slowly, not become a full-on photographer.
Yeah. It's like a hobby right now.
Yeah. It's always been a hobby, but an on and off hobby.
Yeah.
It's sure. Just how I've been with the gym. It's seasonal. I'll get super into it and then slowly wear out, and then get into it and then slowly wear out.
Yeah. But right now you're super into the gym, aren't you?
I was going pretty strong, and I got sick for a week or 2. So then I've been off, but next week.
Are you sick now?
No, I'm good.
Just kidding.
I'm good. So next week I have planned to get back to the gym good.
Yeah.
And we got a wedding to go to in 3 weeks, so I definitely have to get on it.
You need the body.
Yeah.
The body
summer body.
Summer bod. It has to. It's coming up.
It is coming up.
Also, take your immunity shots. We don't need you to be getting sick so much.
I know. We started.
Hey, do you even make your immunity shots?
Not anymore. I need to get better.
No,
I need to start making that ginger.
Yeah.
Yes, the
I'm
ginger steel.
I'm starting to turn to get into the apple cider vinegar shots.
Those are hardcore.
Well, I get the ones that have like the apple cinnamon flavor,
Yeah.
so it's not
that's a good one.
hardcore.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are pretty good.
Okay, so let's talk a little bit about how you made it on the pod and how you and I know each other. Because
Yeah.
I'm sure a lot of people are going to be like, what the heck?
What is he doing
How
here?
did he end up here?
Out of everyone,
Out
right?
of everyone. Well, I mean, there's still going to be a lot of everyone's, but dude, I don't know. We go way back.
Way back.
Way back.
It started back
Started back in
the apartments.
Yeah.
We were neighbors that lived right across from each other. I don't know how we fully got to meet each other, but it started off from there, going to school with each other.
Yeah.
You're a grade above me. And then honestly, a big part was that Gil and Jen got together.
Yep.
Shout out, Gil.
So, okay, yeah. So we were neighbors for the longest time. Like, oh my gosh, like forever.
Yeah,
like,
all throughout middle school and a couple years of high school.
High school, yeah. And then we really started getting closer because my sister is married to technically like your brother, you know? Like,
Gil.
so they're cousins, but like they were really like
cousins, but
brothers.
pretty much see each other as brothers. Speaking about Gil, we just finished playing golf, and yeah, shout out to him.
Yeah. And honestly, we were kind of, before they had kids, we were technically their kids.
Yeah.
We were with them like for every single thing.
Yeah, they adopted me, not literally, but pretty much adopted me my freshman year. I lived with them for around 6 months, so
Yeah, you did.
I technically was raised by them for a bit and prepared them for their twins.
Yeah. You were their reasoning whether they wanted to have kids or not.
Yeah,
And look, you did a good job because they ended up having 3.
3, and they've done pretty good so far. So
Yeah. So shout out to them. Were honestly like our parents, low key.
seriously,
Our young parents.
that would take us out pretty much
Everywhere.
a lot of places. I remember we went with them for my first football game. Concerts, because we went to that Newsboys one at Illich's years ago.
Yeah. That was a good concert though.
That was a really good concert. But yeah,
We've kind of just like always been there with each other because of them. So like I don't know, like I definitely do consider you family because like we've just seen so many different stages of each other's life. And
seriously.
it's not like because I don't know, like it's not like because like we were like besties or anything, but like because of Jen and Gil, like we kind of just started getting very close.
Yeah.
And when they would kind of do their own thing, it was like me and Danny was like, okay, well, what the heck? What do we do without them? You know? So we also we went to church together.
That's what I was about to bring up. That very young age, we started going to the same church, and then from there, it's pretty much like Friday or Saturdays we're with Gil and Jen doing something, and then on Sundays we're right there at church together. So,
and we were also pretty involved in church, so I feel like we would always like be in that same environment together because we would volunteer in the church a lot. Like
we would.
You
still do.
Yeah.
I still do.
Yeah.
But
so we used to go to a church together. Like that was like our home church for a very long time before I moved out to Denver, and then before like you decided to
move churches.
Pursue like a different church. But before that, we did the choir together. Not the choir, but the worship team. We did the worship team together.
Yeah.
Danny, I'm going to give you a shout out because don't get on your high horse now, but
I
Danny knows how to play like every single instrument, and he just like always went for it. Like if they needed a guitar player, if they needed a piano player, if they needed a drummer, like Danny was there, and he he was the one leading the worship most of the time. So
Thank you. Not that I'm any good, guys. I am not good at all.
oh, stop
But
it. Give yourself some like props, like like whatever, dude. Just sometimes you need to show off and be like, yeah, I am good.
no, honestly, like I've always said since day one, like it's just all for the glory of God. I mean, not to get religious or anything, but it's honestly like I don't do it for the people at all.
For
It's
sure. Yeah.
It's honestly like something like faith-based, like worship has always been like deep down in my heart. So
Yeah.
like that's something like from the very beginning since I like started going to church, like that's something I've always wanted to be a part of. And then once I was like knew how to play or things like that, like that's just something that's always been like
Yeah.
deep inside that I've always been wanting to do.
Yeah, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And I know you say like that you don't want to get like all religious or anything, but do you feel like sometimes people confuse like the term religious and then just like having a relationship with God, being pretty out there with your faith? Like, do you just like, do you see that those two totally different, or like how, because I know you're pretty open about your faith, and but do people like, do you ever get like offended that people are like, oh, you're so religious or something?
I've definitely lived the life of religious and the life of having a relationship with God. And I say that because growing up, I believe it was like from 9-year-old to 12-year-old, I used to go to a church that we would go to church Friday to Sunday. So Friday night, Saturday night, and Sunday night.
Mm-hmm.
That was definitely religion because I get it. Like people want to be like close to God and whatnot, but 3 nights a week of church services is a lot. And I feel like that point in life, like I compared to now, I could tell that was like religion, like having to go to this church 3 nights a week, having to dress up for church. Like you can't go dress up however you want. So definitely back then was a religion point in my life. Bless you.
Yes, you steal.
But no, now as I've gotten older, more mature, not just in life, but in like the religion aspect, like it's like all comes down to like relationship with God.
Yeah.
Yeah. How do I say it? People think that going to church every Sunday makes you religion, but honestly, like not calling anyone out, but like you could go to church every Sunday and not have a relationship with God.
Period. That's so true.
Like
It's really true.
you could just show up, but it's just showing up from like just to say you went to church and whatnot, but like actually having a relationship with God changes your whole view on everything. If you have a relationship with God and you're going to like Bible studies, worship practice, being part of the worship team, going to church, if there's a relationship with God, it completely changes the view on religion.
Yeah.
So I'm a Christian, go to church, play on the worship team, but honestly, like if there's no relationship, there's no purpose.
Yeah.
And if you're going to church every Sunday and don't have a relationship with God, it's pointless.
Yeah.
I would say it's pretty pointless because you're just wasting time, honestly, like time from your day. Like you could like go to church every single week, but like if you're not learning, if you're not having a connection with God, then it's like honestly like a waste of time. Like if that was the case, I'd prefer to be out on the golf course at the gym, like doing something better with my life if I didn't have that relationship with God.
Yeah. It's so true though. Like just like you said, like if it's not that relationship, like what are you really going for? And a lot of people just go just to like
say they go to church.
Yeah, just or go and judge others or be in there and just be like, oh, like all these people are hypocrites and everything. Like there's always gonna be people talking and everything, but I do think once you get close to God, like all of that really just goes away because that's not your main focus anymore. It's not just like just to go to church. Like now it's like because you want to learn, because you need the guidance and you want to get closer. So you said that so beautifully.
Thank you. And honestly, like if you go to church and if you know what the purpose you're going for, if it's religion or a relationship with God, you could tell in church who goes for what. Like growing up, like when I started getting tattoos, piercings, you could tell who was there for a relationship with God, and you could tell who was there
To just go
as
and
religion.
judge.
Yep.
Yeah, to go and judge. Yeah. Do you think that kind of messed up? Not messed up, but I guess like was it hard for you growing up in like that very like religious view of like having to go to church? Because you were you going willingly like through when you were like 9 to 12, like were you going willingly, or was it just because like your family was going so you kind of just had to like tag along and you weren't really going for a purpose?
So going through those ages, definitely you're 9 at 12, you do whatever your parents say. Me, just my mom. We will get through that point later. But yeah, I mean, in the ages of 9 through 12, you're doing whatever your parents tell you. So I would go to church. Not because of my mom, but technically, like, I went with my mom.
Yeah.
But, I mean, especially at that age, like, I was getting into, like, wanting to play in the worship team. So, somewhat, I would go with my mom, not because my will, but at the same time, not because I wanted to. Like, does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like you kind of just like were there.
Yeah, I was there. Like, you can't tell your mom, oh, at that age, oh, I'm not going to church.
Yeah.
But then at the same time, I don't feel like I had that relationship with God that I'm like, oh, I'm going to go. And if that was the case, if my mom wasn't going to go,
Yeah.
not like if I had the choice of like, oh, I'm going to go, like, I'm 12, I can't
Yeah.
drive.
Yeah.
Yeah, but back then, like, talking about religion, I mean, that's one of the churches that, like, where, like, you know, you had to dress up nice. You couldn't have any hair, like, whatever hairstyle you wanted.
Yeah.
So,
But now would you say like if someone comes up to you and they're like, "Oh, you're a believer," like someone forced you or someone made you, like would you say like, "Heck no, like I chose this. Like this is my will to want to get closer to God," or like how do you respond to someone just like, "Oh, like this is how you grew up." So it was pretty much like seeded into you.
no, so honestly, like, especially like growing up with each other, we've seen everybody that like we grew up going to church, and there's many people that aren't in church right now. So, honestly, I don't know what was in me or what's in me that kept me going to church. My relationship with God had a lot to do with my childhood growing up.
Yeah.
So not to say that I go to church because I owe God everything, even though I do, because I mean, because of Him, we're here. But like honestly, like He kept me going through some tough years, but at the same time, like church is all I knew, and church is something that I couldn't see my life without.
Yeah.
Like I've been through,
Because you've been there. Like, I feel like we've both been there where we kind of both stepped away from church for a bit and we were just kind of, you know, like doing our own thing, like not really like, we didn't find that church after we left like our home church for a long time. And then something obviously like brought us back to knowing that once we know God and once we leave His path for a little bit and we want to taste the world and whatnot, it's just like there's nothing out there for us anymore.
Yeah.
Like what is there for us? Like if we have already seen the good of God and what He has done and transformed our life. So I can definitely like relate to that and hear you on that. For
yeah.
sure.
And I mean, definitely like I could see churches hurting people, and that's why a lot of people have left churches and don't want to get close to church. And I could say that a bit by experience. I mean, there's been 2 different churches that I went to that definitely not made me not want to go to church, but made me stop wanting to go to that exact church. Thankfully, I haven't been the person that like when I've been hurt by a church, I've not wanted to deal with anything of a church or wanted to stop going to church. I don't know what it is, but or clearly, I mean, like you said, like we've experienced that life, like growing up with God, and once like if you try to get out of church, like it's not the same. So yeah, so we've both lived like life growing up in church, and then there's been some things that have made me stop going to that exact church. But at the same time, God's never given up on me, so why would I give up on God? A lot of people have given up on God from the people of churches, but that's just not me, thankfully, because I don't know what I'd do without church right now.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've just been able to find the home church now, which I absolutely love. Shout out to the Orchard Church. If you guys are in the Valley, Carbondale, go check it out.
Yeah.
But thankfully, that's been a church that I've found, so I get a call home. Previous churches, I've dealt with some things that just don't suit me, so
Yeah.
that's why I've moved on from churches. But I've never really had the vision of stop going to church.
Yeah.
And that's where a lot of people, I don't know how to say it, but they think, oh, I got a relationship with God, I don't need to go to church. And that's where they're wrong. It's pretty much saying, like, I got a family, but you never visit them. How are they still family? You know?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. What's like one advice that you would give people that have been hurt by a church and have decided to stop going to a church? Like, what's something, because you've been through that, you know, like, what's something that you could say to kind of encourage them and maybe like give them like a positive outlook that it doesn't stop there, like you're not stuck in that season?
yeah, I mean, like I said, like, God hasn't given up on you, so why would you give up on God? I mean, a lot
Period.
of people.
Dang, he even looked straight into the camera. That was for someone
I
there.
had to. But honestly, like, the first church that I stopped going to, that was like our main church. I mean, somewhat like felt judged from like getting tattoos, getting piercings, so somewhat towards the religion side, from that church. But honestly, it was not something to like fully give up on. You know, like, I know Hispanic churches are a bit more religious, so I was like, I know there's other churches out there that like are more open, and I got no hate to the church or anything. You know, it was just something I had to move on with, because I know there's other denominations that are more open to different things like tattoos and piercings. So that's something that I moved on from.
Yeah.
And then the church that I was playing after that was one that really got into politics, and not hating on politics, but I'm just not a person that likes politics or like
Right.
really gets into politics.
Yeah.
And for a church to really get into it with politics, I just couldn't see myself in that church.
Yeah.
Like, for someone that doesn't like politics, and then someone to bring it with religion, I don't think those are two things that like go together. So I was like, definitely have to move on from that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, if you've been hurt from a church member, I mean, there's definitely other churches that are open armed, willing to take you in. And I mean, like I said, like, God hasn't given up on you, so why would you give up on him? Just because someone at a church messed up, we're all human. Like, in short words, get over it. Like, we're all human, we're all gonna mess up, and I mean, no church is perfect. There's always gonna be that side where someone wants to put an excuse that, oh, that's why I don't want to go to church, or oh, that's why I don't want to go to that church. There's other churches.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're willing, you'll find one.
Yeah. Danny, congrats on being a dad, a
Thank you.
first-time dad, you guys.
First time
A first-time dad.
that we know of.
Oh.
Kidding. Kidding.
Don't say that in front of Kate. She's in the room.
No, I'm kidding. I was a virgin before you, okay?
How has that been? Dude, I just like, I get so shocked because, again, like, I've known him for so long. And when I found out that you were a dad and everything, I'm just like, what? Like, that's crazy. I don't know. Like, I feel like we were kind of in like that same level of like, we went through like singleness together, and then we got into relationships around the same time. And then you like went through your stuff, and then I went through my stuff and everything. And then boom, like, now you found such an amazing partner. Now you're a dad. Like, how has all of that just how has it been feeling? Like, tell me a little bit about you being a dad right now.
Honestly, it took everybody by shock when we announced it to first our family and close friends. To be honest, I'm not that much of a like emotional guy, and if I do, like, I'm the one that keeps it in. So honestly, it's been good. I mean, it's been something crazy. Yeah, buddy, he's smiling at me right now.
He's like, you're talking about me, Dad.
But it's been a journey. There's a lot of things that you can't prepare for, and then there's a lot of things that you just don't know that what to do, what to expect. You just go right in.
Yeah.
But to be blessed to have a small boy, it's been amazing, and honestly, couldn't do it without the MVP mama, Kate.
Yeah.
I've been working a lot, especially in this winter season, so she's been taking care of him like a champ. So honestly, she's an MVP. And I mean, I know we'll get into the topic, but growing up without a dad, I mean, it's something that you go in blindly, without pretty much a guidebook. So
Yeah.
it's been inside, it's been a bit rough just through that viewpoint, but honestly, like, I couldn't thank Caitlin enough, because without her, like, I'd be a lost cause, to be honest.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Are we gonna cry together, Danny?
I'm not gonna
You
cry.
say you don't cry, but I feel like we're gonna cry together.
No, we're just going into a topic that I don't. Yeah, still chanting. We're just going into a topic that I personally, not that I don't like talking, but I just don't really talk enough about. And Caitlin's always like, "Why don't you talk about like all these experiences with me?" And it's just something that, like, I just prefer, like, if it's not needed to talk about, then I'll keep it away. But I'm on the Sincerely Be podcast, and we talk raw and we talk the truth. So
Ooh.
here we are
Dang,
talking
here we
about
are.
it.
Yes.
But it's definitely been a blessing.
Go back.
Something I envision in my life. Like, I've always wanted to have a child, but at the same time, it's something that's like shock. Like, growing up, I always said I wanted to have a kid by the age of 25, and I had him. Caitlin had him. We had him a couple months before.
Oh my God, I didn't know that.
Yeah, but at the same time, like, having him, I'm like, oh dang, like, it was soon, you know.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like, you could never prepare enough to have a kid.
Yeah.
Well, we're not gonna cry today because, as like you said, with the Daily BJ, with you and Jen, see, I do listen to it, but you're not a person that really cries, and I'm a person that always pretty much holds in my feelings, especially not really cry. So yeah, it's not gonna happen.
We're both middle child, huh?
We are both middle child,
Yeah.
and that's one thing that I was like relating to you a lot on that podcast. Like, growing up, like, you are that like outer person in the family, like, because it's definitely the older sibling and the younger sibling, which with us, we both have an older sister and a younger brother. So that was something I really related to. But yeah, it's definitely being something else, being the middle child.
Yep.
Shout out to all you
Middle child. You middle children, how are you doing out there?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely like, I don't know. I totally hear you. Like, just holding things in and just like not really talking about things that you're just like, it doesn't matter to say it out loud. Like, I'm internally dealing with it. Like, I don't really want to talk about it and everything. But now, like, that you are a dad, like, would you want like your child to just be open with you and just like be able to talk about hard things that you felt like you were never able to talk about with other people?
What's a bit different, to start off, I told Caitlin since the beginning I don't want to have an odd number of children. I don't know if that's what the middle child syndrome comes through from being an
probably.
odd children, odd number of children, not odd children.
Yeah.
um, so that's probably one thing. Especially not having odd number of children. It's okay if he would want to talk to me, if he would want to talk to his mom, or if he wants to talk to his sibling.
Mm-hmm.
Come to you, who knows when.
Yeah.
But yeah, so like to start off, part of it is just being the odd number child.
Yeah.
And then secondly, I would say part of it is just, I mean, growing without a dad. I mean, there might be some things that I could probably look back in my past growing up
Mm-hmm.
where I would prefer to talk to, my father if I had one,
Mm-hmm.
other than, my mom.
Yeah. Yeah.
Especially like being a guy, there's some guy things where you just want to go to your dad and talk about.
Right.
Or
Like having that male figure
yeah,
to talk about
male figure.
guy stuff.
Yes, exactly. And there's a lot of things having a male figure in your life that you could learn for future events, such as like working on cars and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
That something I know there's probably moms out there that do, but my mom didn't. So it's
Yeah.
like some things out there that boys will always learn from their dads
Yeah.
that I never
That
got
comes
that
more like
chance.
natural to learn from them, and it
Mhm.
comes like easier to understand them, because sometimes, I mean, it is easy to say just like, oh, like, well, your mom knows how to change a tire, like learn from her, but it just comes different when you see like someone that looks like you, that like has the same hormones and everything
Yeah.
that you do. Like, it's just easier to take those advice faster from a male person. Like, I know, like, for instance, like when my dad wasn't around for a long time, like my mom could give me all the advice, but I took it from her because she's the role model that I'm looking up to, like a woman,
A woman. It's
so
something that's like boy to boy and woman to woman. So
yeah. So, just going off into that topic a little bit, like, what do you feel now that you are a dad, now that you're looking at it, like, what do you feel was like the hardest thing for you to accept now that you are a dad? Like, just looking back, that you're just like, dang, like, I want to do this differently, and I know that because I missed these certain things for myself, I want to give this to my son.
mostly being in the picture. I mean, it's basic, it's simple. Not growing up without a dad.
Yeah.
Never even meeting him. I mean, just being in the picture is one step that I could clearly do better than what my dad didn't do.
Yeah.
I mean, clearly with dads that grew up with dads, they could compare and they could easily say, "Oh, I want to do this different. I want to do that different." But growing up without a dad, just being there, that's the best thing I could do. And like you said, which we could talk about a bit later, you said that, your mom and dad aren't together. A lot of people, how do I say it? A lot of people view growing up without a parent is the same as growing up with divorced parents. A lot of people like to compare them together, but in my case, I never knew him. I mean, he left before like I was even born, so it's like he was never part of the picture.
Yeah.
And growing up with divorced parents, yes, it's tough. I could see the struggle of seeing your parents together at one point in your life and then for them to be separate at a later point of your life. That's tough. I couldn't imagine it. I couldn't experience it because that's a whole different thing. Knowing that your parents were together and now they're not, that's tough. And growing up without a parent, that's just a whole different story.
Yeah.
I feel like they're two similar things, but at the same time, completely different.
For sure. Yeah.
And especially growing up without a dad, I think there's, like, if I were to say my parents were divorced, there's the option of I could go to my dad to ask for this. I could go to my mom to ask for this other thing. Like, they're both still in the picture.
Yeah.
Not together, but both still in the picture.
Yeah.
But in my situation, I never had a dad. So I never had like the option to go and ask him whatever.
Yeah.
So my childhood had something that I don't want Steele's childhood to have, and
Right.
that was not having a dad.
Yeah.
So I want, to be there for Steele, and that's the biggest thing I could do for him. That I could give him something that I didn't have.
Yeah. Yeah. Point blank, like, did it affect you? Now that you're older and now that you're looking back, does it affect you? Did it and does it affect you never having that male figure in your life?
No. And I could say that because I feel like to be affected, I would have to know what was there. And then to experience not having it there. So honestly, no, it didn't affect me because I never had that image of what was there and now what's not there.
Yeah.
I mean, shout out to my mom. She was a single mother of 3. And honestly, I couldn't imagine that right now. I couldn't imagine that lifestyle right now.
Yeah.
Like raising 3 in the way like the economy is right now, how much of a struggle it is to not the struggle to raise one, but at the same time, like I couldn't imagine a single parent raising 3 children.
Yeah, that's wild.
Yeah, so it didn't affect me because clearly I didn't know anything, so I'm going it into a blank page, into a blank book of Steele's life.
Yeah.
So let's put it in 2 different books. There's my book, and then there's Steele's book. My book, there was never a father in the picture. So if I go back in my past, there's nothing that I could say affected me from not having a father, because I never had the part where there was a father in there and then left. From me, the beginning to end, no father. For Steele's book, there is a father at the beginning, and there will be one until the end. So not having a father for me couldn't really affect me for my future.
Yeah.
Because there's one point where it started off without me having a father, and it's not like I had a father and then didn't have a father.
Yeah.
Which that's what I not want to get to a point, which that's like what I see the difference as children that had divorced parents to children that didn't have a parent.
Yeah.
Because there was 2 things with children that had divorced parents. There was at a point 2 parents, and then they were split.
Yeah.
They still had the option to go to the parents, but if you go back, at one point they were both together. As in fact, for me, in my past, there was only one parent the whole time.
Yeah. Well, thanks for sharing that. I know it can feel a little much talking about that and everything, but you put it in a really good perspective. Like I honestly hadn't really like thought about it that way, that it's just like you never had anything to compare it to. So this is your opportunity. This is like a whole new chapter for you where you get to do it the way that you have always envisioned and wished for yourself, and even better, like probably even better, So that's awesome. I'm so excited for you and
Thank
Kate's
you.
journey. I think you guys made such a cute
It's
baby.
Start. Yeah. Proud to say that it's a 50-50 baby. Usually there's always a baby that looks like the dad or the mom, but honestly, with us, depends the picture you see of Steele, you get a different view on him. Like it's either like he looks like mom or he looks like dad, and honestly, we like split him evenly with features.
Seriously, like it's a little bit of both of you. Like it's wild. Yes, Steele.
Shout out to Steele.
Shout out to Steele. Well, what's your goal for yourself and for your family moving forward now? That's like a little boom question.
That is.
But let me like rephrase it a little bit more. So now that you're a dad, what is your goal moving forward being a dad, being a partner, and for yourself as an individual? Like, what's just something that you are striving to get to or become every single day now?
Well, to start off, I mean the obvious answer, especially as the dad side, is just to be able to provide. I mean, it's right now it's not that much money, I would say, because we still have had diapers from like baby showers. Shout out to you guys and everyone who gave us something for the baby shower or whatnot. But honestly, like, being able to provide is like always a vision, since day one, to make sure that Steele could have everything that he needs. Caitlin has everything that she needs. That's always the big picture. But now, finishing winter season, which I was working 2 jobs, just to be a little more present. Like I said earlier on the podcast, where I was working a lot and Caitlin was mostly just taking care of Steele the whole time.
Yeah.
Just being there more present is something that I'm looking forward to, and to be able to help around. MVP to Caitlin once again. She's been doing a lot of the work, and I try to help as much as I can, but working both jobs that I had, it wasn't really something that I could fully give my 100% into, but being there right now is something that I look forward to, and something that I'm trying to work on. And that comes partly of something of not having a dad. Like, I don't have the picture in my mind to like, oh, he was there for me for this, he was this much there for me for that. So like, coming into this like blank new chapter of my life, like, it's a learning on the go. And then I was working 2 jobs this whole winter, so I'm putting that like, oh, like being able to provide for my family, but then like doing too much of that, I'm realizing I'm not there 100% of the time, or I'm not putting in enough effort. So it's like learning on the go, and clearly what I've learned the most is time goes very fast. Steele's about to turn 6 months, and it's all in the blink of an eye. So that's one thing I've learned, like, time does not wait. So it's like, as much as time is going, learning things, and whatever I'm learning, I'm trying to put into it.
Are you and Kate's parenting style very different?
Yes.
And you can't speak for her, because I'm gonna have her on here too, and she's gonna speak on that. But what would you say your parenting style is?
Well, for those of you who don't know, we come from different cultures. I'm Mexican and Caitlin's white. Not in a bad way, but I'm just saying it's two very different things. And then, I mean, growing up from a Hispanic family, I mean, at times, things when you want done, it has to be done right then and there. And one thing that I definitely could say I don't have that Caitlin has a bunch of is patience. And honestly, especially with a child, your patience are tested very quick. And that's only him about to be 6 months. Like, I can't imagine what the terrible twos are going to look like when patience are pushed to its limits. But that's something that I could say 100% that I don't have, and that she has, which thankfully, she's very good with it. But yeah, definitely different parenting styles. One thing I would say is she's more of a like, all right, let's give him a bath before bedtime, so like he could get into the habit of like, all right, it's getting bedtime, like it's getting close to bedtime, like, all right, let's get ready to sleep. For me, I would pretty much be like, you really don't have to bathe him every night. Like, you just bathed him last night. He hasn't done anything today. He's good. Like, he'll survive without a bath. She's all about routines, and I'm like, go with the flow.
You're more free-spirited.
I'm like, whatever happens. But yeah, we definitely have a bit of different parenting Styles. I know they say before you have a child, you and your partner better talk about, even before you get your partner pregnant, you and your partner better talk about parenting styles, because if you guys come with two different heads, you guys are going to be crashing a lot.
Did you guys talk about your parenting styles?
After we found out that she was pregnant. But honestly, I'm more laid back, so whatever she wants, let it be.
Yeah.
She came into this with a lot of knowledge,
Yeah.
which props to her. She did lots of research about it.
Yeah.
So honestly, I'm more of like an open-minded, like, oh, you want to do this? Let's do it. You want this for him? You want these toys for him? Go for it. Like,
Go ahead.
I'm just here to pay the bills, or as much as I can.
As you should. Good job, Kate. You're teaching him well.
But yeah, honestly, she came into this with the most knowledge.
Yeah.
So I trust her, and I mean, as a relationship, you gotta have trust. So I trust she's doing everything for the best of us and for the best of him.
Yeah.
So.
Did
I
you ever
just let
read
her.
baby books?
No, I did not.
Did you ever watch videos or anything?
No, I did not.
So you really just came into this like, all right, baby's here. Let's do this.
Yeah, honestly, and she's the one that read books, looked at videos and whatnot. And not gonna lie, like, I don't even know like any like really like baby rhymes or like any songs or whatnot. And she's like, you don't even know him in Spanish? And I'm like, no, like,
Yeah, honestly,
my
me
childhood,
neither.
yeah, like my childhood was such a long time ago. Like, I'm not gonna remember it. Like, I already have a bad memory to start off with, so it's like definitely I don't remember anything from my childhood.
Oh my gosh, now that you mentioned that, I don't think I know any baby songs or anything like that in Spanish. Damn, I don't even know it in Spanish.
Yeah, I know,
though.
like everybody like things like the
La
itsy bitsy
no, la araña.
spider.
You're gonna have to teach it to me, because I have no idea how to.
Like any songs, like basic children's songs, I don't even like fully know. And then as well, I'm supposed to be the parent that teaches him Spanish, which I give him his little Spanish lessons, but like a lot of people are telling me right now, like, no, you gotta speak to him Spanish 24/7. I'm like,
does that piss you off? Kind of, when people are like telling you how to parent in a way.
no, it doesn't piss me off, but then at the same time, I'm like, you're not speaking to your children 24/7 Spanish. But at the same time, they say being this young is when they take the most knowledge. But I just speak to him not when I can, but like when I can, if that makes sense.
He definitely has to be a bilingual baby, though.
He will. I mean, his teachers in childcare speak to him in Spanish.
Yeah.
And then I'll give him his little Spanish lessons. I'll like translate words. So I'll say like, these are your eyes, estos son tus ojos, and like go like different like body parts.
Yeah.
But I'm not that parent that like speaks to him Spanish 24/7.
Like, you don't like greet him like, hola, tío, ¿cómo estás? Like, you don't like talk to him like that?
No, like when I get home from work, like I go straight to like English. And then like when he's on me and like we're like chilling, I'll like bring in some Spanish, but no, not like a 24 Spanish.
Yeah.
24/7 Spanish speaker.
24/7, yeah. Oh, okay. Now I have to remember to talk to him in Spanish too.
Yeah, but like that's like the thing, like that I didn't come in with like knowing like baby songs or whatnot. And then now that like I read him books like before his bedtime, like while Caitlin like gets him ready for bed, like putting on his PJs and whatnot, I'll like read him a book so he could stay calm. Which he's already a chill baby, but just so he could stay.
Yeah, he's super chill.
Just so he could stay calm, like I'll read him a book. But then like I like started reading to him in like a monotone voice, and Caitlin's like, "What are you doing? Like you need to like read to him in like with expressions and whatnot." I'm like, "He's a baby. I'm gonna read to him in the monotone voice so he could be like chill."
So he can zen out for the night.
Yeah, and then just like Caitlin at times has like a sound machine with a monotone voice like before bed that like, you know, puts you calm and whatnot. So like that's how I read him his books. And she's like, no, you need expression. I'm like, it's the end of the day. We need to relax. We need to calm down our feelings. And I don't know where I got the monotone voice from, but like I just started reading a book like that. She's like, what are you doing? I'm like,
She's
this
like,
is my reading
"Excuse
voice.
you, what is this?"
Yeah, I'm like, it's like an audible book, like just a simple voice. Not that I've listened to any audible books, but that's what I
Well,
imagine.
you should, because they do not sound like that.
Yeah, like honestly.
They have a little more emotion to it too, Daddy.
Do they?
Yes.
I just listen to podcasts, not books. But yeah, like into like a monotone voice, and I'll be like, for example, like the book of good night. Good night, little pig. Good night, little sheep.
What?
Good night,
first
little
of all,
cow.
That's so creepy. Let's start there.
But it's like, I'm not going to be like, when it's freaking late at night and it's bedtime, good night, little sheep. Good night, little
Yes.
cow.
That
No,
is
it's
how
like,
you're supposed to
no,
do it.
because then it'll like wake him up more. Like, we need like relaxing, soothing voice. That's
I
how
think-
I
I
read
didn't
a
even have
book.
to crop that out because that was creepy.
Think what you want. I mean, it's whatever.
I forget that Daddy is like so like serious when he talks, and like he's very like, no, I don't want to show emotion. I just want to be that mysterious guy.
Not that I don't want to show emotion. It's just who I am. Like, I've never really been the person to show emotion or anything.
Yeah.
I mean, at times I will. Depends who it is with.
Yeah.
But, I mean, like, even with conversations, like, I mean, we're having a pretty good conversation because I know you well.
Yeah.
But, like, with people that I don't know
And
well.
this is him knowing me.
Yeah. But with people that I don't know well, like, I really can't come up with a conversation. Like, I suck at conversation. Like, definitely an introvert to the max. But, like, with people that I don't know well, I could, like, barely come up with a conversation and whatnot. And then especially, like, with someone new that I don't know. And, like, if I meet them, it's like I tell my name and that's it. Like, I just...
You're like, how's the weather?
I know it's bad, so I just prefer to stay quiet, and that's just it.
Oh yeah, I feel like a lot of people think that you're kind of like mamoncillo because like you like never like speak up and you're just like, what's up, dude?
Yeah.
But that's just like who you are.
It is who I am, and
That's funny.
I don't know why, but I just grew up like that with like not being able to like have a good conversation, and it's just not with like any like person that I don't know. It's also with people that like I like barely know or like I know, but it's like if we're not like close, then it's like
Yeah.
sorry.
So don't take it personal, guys. If you guys meet him one day, don't take it personal. That's just who he is.
Yeah, I just not that I don't know. Not that how would I say it? It's not that I want to like be awkward or can't come up with conversation, but at the same time it's like I just can't come up with conversation. And I mean, clearly you can make conversation about anything, but like it gets
like,
it's awkward or like it's awkward when you like force conversation. So like just personally, like I don't like if it's gonna be like forced, then I prefer not to have a conversation.
Yeah. That's so funny, Daddy.
Yeah. And then there's times like especially like when I started dating Caitlin, she's like, why are you so quiet? It's like, well, this is who I am. Like, especially like not that I rely on other people like having the conversation with me or like starting conversation.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I rely on other people because it's like, not that I don't care if we have a conversation or not, but I'm not really a person that could just like talk out of my mind and just talk. I'm like more of the like, I'm a silent, quiet guy.
Yeah. Like you're not the one like asking the questions and like getting to know the person.
Yeah, because when I like ask a question, I feel like I make it awkward. Because it feels like it's forced. Like, yeah. How was your weekend?
I've experienced one of those around him, and I'm just like, oh, Danny.
Yeah. I mean, that's why I don't have a podcast.
You're doing great, though. Like, you, like, followed up with the questions and everything. Good job.
Thank you.
So awesome.
Thank you.
Well, Nathaniel, Spiffy D, do you want the people to follow you on your social medias or anything like that?
If they want. Oh, God, I'm honestly a person that I don't.
Well, right now, because, like, I felt like there was a point, though, where you were really trying to, like, put your photography out there. And
there was a point where
and now you're kind of low-key. Is it because you're a dad now?
I don't know. I don't know what it is. What you were talking about when I like was pushing for people to follow me. There was a point when I had a photography page where it was like blowing up and like it's not a lot, but there's like one picture where I got to like 490 likes or something like
Yeah.
that. So it was like, oh shoot, like like this
That
is
is a
like
lot.
sick. Like let's keep it like
Yeah.
going, like share and whatnot. But then it's just like I slowly, like I said, like I slowly like backed off, and then like pretty much gave up on it.
Yeah.
Not really gave up on it, but my interest wasn't at that same level. So
Yeah.
then like I deleted that photography account.
Yeah.
But then I don't know, like it's just like my life comes in waves. Like I really wanted to get into something. Like I had my fitness account, and I would make like posts of like all my different like gym outfits and whatnot. And then I was like, all right, like I'm a bit over this phase. And then I just like deleted it. I'm not
Yeah.
a person to like, oh, like if I have something, like I'm gonna always keep it going. Like if it doesn't feel right, I'm done with it.
Yeah.
Like, and at a point, I'm like, if I don't see it really going somewhere, then I won't keep it going.
Yeah.
So I was just like, all right, this era is over and on to the next.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know, like some
Well,
people
just to put your
yeah, I mean Danny.life, I think is what it is. But yeah, I mean a lot of people like think like cuz I'm am a photographer, like I'd be one to like post a lot, but like honestly I'm just one that comes in waves. Like there will be a season where like I like to post a bunch, and then like I'll go ghost mode and just like completely disappear,
Yeah.
and then like come back on and then disappear. But
Yeah.
it's just how I'm feeling, and if I feel like that point in life, like I want to share my life, then let's share it. And then
Yeah.
if I feel like I'm at a point in life where it's like I want to keep to myself, then I'll keep to myself.
Yeah.
But I mean, social media is just all fake reality.
Damn.
I mean, it's people at times want to
Speaking
show, not want to show, people at times show everything they're doing, but honestly, it's just a high points in life. Like,
Yeah.
when are you scrolling in media and seeing where people, share their downs and their depressions and whatnot? But I mean, that's what social media is,
Yeah.
showing the highs and the vibes.
Yeah.
And honestly, I feel like if I'm not there in the highs and the vibes, I'll just not post and disappear instead of faking myself that I'm at a place where I'm really not.
Yeah. Dang, getting deep on here.
No.
All I asked
Just
was if you
raw
wanted people
talk.
to follow you on your social media.
If you want.
Just kidding.
If you want.
And he gave us a whole ass lecture. I felt attacked there.
Not even.
It's like, I was literally just talking to you if I should do an account for myself.
Well, I was just
I think that was for you, Kate. That was a straight up for
no,
you.
it was not. I was just explaining the little backstory of why I've had a couple
Yeah.
different accounts.
Yeah. Love it. Well, we'll definitely put your social medias on there if you want at the end of this. But Dee, thank you so much for being on today's episode. I hope you guys really
course.
enjoyed it.
I know I talk all around, like when I try to get to a point, the story goes everywhere. But like I said, like
that's-
I'm not the best at conversations, and I mean I'm with a professional here, so
You'll see.
clearly it's gonna look like I'm way off topic in some parts of the conversation, but that's just who I am.
Yeah.
So,
No, you did awesome. Thank you
thank
so
you.
much. Thank you guys so much for coming out. I really, really enjoyed talking to you. We literally caught up because we hadn't talked in a hot minute. Like we
It's been
talked
a-
like here and there, but never like we used to before. So this
Yeah.
was nice. Kate, Steele, thanks for joining us. I know, Steele, you're like over this already, but
He's chilling. But it's been a pleasure. Thank you for having us. I
I'll
mean,
be
they're
definitely
in the
having you
background,
guys
but
again. So just keep an eye out for that.
yeah, we'd love to hop on again, but try to keep it as raw and real as I could.
Yes.
Since, that's what you mostly look for in your podcast.
Yes.
Which completely like it and enjoy it.
Woo! Thanks for the support.
Of course.
Thanks so much for watching this week's episode. I hope you guys really enjoyed it, and I can't wait to chat with you all on next week's episode.
Make sure to like, subscribe on all platforms.
Yes.
Sincerely, B.
That was a good one.